To build a truly great company, it takes 30 years, 25 years. Deepinder and us, Zomato and us, disagreed 17 times. They had raised $180 million. 2 weeks after that, they walked into our office, my basement. They said, this $180 million, we're going to blow up in food delivery in the next 12 months. I said, don't be daft. First of all, as an investor, you've got to understand, the founder's running the company. You're not running the company. Both founders and investors have got to be mature enough to handle the relationship. I have seen founders being extremely rude to investors. At the same time, I've seen investors trying to behave like they're the founder's boss, when actually no founder becomes an entrepreneur because he's looking for a new boss. So both can be wrong. At the same time, both have been spectacularly right in many cases. I think very good entrepreneurs look at opportunity. Great entrepreneurs also look at risk.
As a founder, has this dawned on you at different points of time? Should I cash out?
We have got offers in the past, and look, I was tempted some 25 years ago. But then I thought about it and I said, listen, paise le liye, uske baad kya karunga? The greatest of entrepreneurs, the most successful people, in their truthful moments will admit that they were also lucky. I said no to Flipkart in the pre-series A without even meeting them. I said no to Myntra twice after meeting them. Ola, Lenskart. And in all the cases, we were looking at risk. See, we are all dreamers, right? Everybody. You are, I am, the whole crew is. And we all daydream.
Hello and welcome to the Escape Velocity podcast by Outlook Business, where we talk to the movers, shakers, thinkers, and doers of the tech and the startup ecosystem. Today we have with us a man who needs no introduction, a man who is known as the father of internet businesses in India. Let's welcome Mr. Sanjeev Bikhchandani, the founder of InfoEdge, the oracle who foresaw the rise of Zomato and PolicyBazaar as India's biggest unicorns. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you for calling me.
And so I want to start from where you had begun. I want to actually start from the time I read that you had cleared IIT and yet chose to not go. What happened there?
So it's not that I chose to not go. It was, it was circumstances. Now, my brother, 7 years older to me, he went to IIT and, unto a family of doctors and engineers. And the done thing was that, all good boys do science. I went to an all-boys school. And then if you done science, you either do engineering or medicine. And if it's engineering, IIT is top choice. So, my friends prepared. I also prepared for IIT entrance. Now, there was a 3-year window between 1978 and 80, 3 years, 78, 79, 80, where the country was switching over from class 11 to class 12. Right? But prior to that, prior to 78, high school was class 11, not class 12. There was no class 12 in India.
Okay.
And the board exam was held after class 11. So, in 1978, some schools shifted. Some states shifted, 1979, and by 1980, all had shifted to class 12. Or rather, by 81, all had shifted to class 12. Now, to have a level playing field, what the IIT authorities said was, no matter whether your board is held after class 11 or class 12, you can write the IIT entrance after class 11. Which means that if you are in a state where your board exam is in class 12, you can write the IIT entrance after class 11 and get into IIT and go to IIT without doing your class 12 board exam. So you don't have a high school pass board certificate, but you've gone to IIT. Right? Now Delhi had shifted early. So we could write the IIT entrance after class 11 without having written the board exam. What it meant was that you effectively got 2 shots at IIT, after class 11 and after class 12. Now, ambitious people, peer pressure, teachers are putting pressure, all that. We said, we'll write it. Of course, we'll write after class 11. So we all prepared, and we wrote after class 11, and as luck would have it, I cleared the exam. But when I went for my counseling, IIT, you have counseling, there's a medical test. The medical test, it turned out that I was partially colorblind. So the doctor said, son, you can join, it's okay. some careers and some departments will be closed to you, and it will go down in your permanent medical record, but it's fine. Don't worry. You can join. And that is when I first time I hadn't thought, rightly. And it was a risk, right? I said, okay, what if something goes wrong and I have to drop out of IIT? Then to get admission to the college, I have to go back to my school, write the class 12 exam again to get a board certificate and then join another college. That's one risk. Other risk is, look, I don't know what careers, what departments, I don't know how we will change in the future, right? Third, my rank wasn't great. It was okay, but it's not as I was getting computer science or electrical or something, right? And what was happening was that mine was the last year that he could write it after class 11. Because by 1981, everybody was switching. All sticks. So the next year, class 11 student from anywhere in the country could not write it. Which basically meant, I said, my junior batch can't write it next year. My batch on the books are already gone after class 11. So there will be no competition. Why don't I stay back? And IIT is becoming a 4-year program, because prior to that, IIT was 5 years. So the graduation date will be the same. Like, it'll be a 4-year graduation and not a 5-year. So I said, I don't lose a year. I might actually improve my rank. And I get a class 12 pass certificate. So on balance, I took the risk of not taking the IIT admission after class 11 and say I'll write the exam again next year. But in that 1 year, I sat and thought very hard. You see, when you're faced with a situation like this, first when you think, prior to that, I was just not thinking. IIT is the thing to go. It's a herd mentality. My brother went. Parents are saying, good idea. Teachers are saying, my friends are going. In my school, the culture is to, if you can go to IIT is great. So, for the first time, I hadn't thought, why do I want to be an engineer? And after 2 or 3 months of thinking, I figured I don't want to be an engineer. I just want to be an IITian. So I want the brand, I want the label, I want the top. I want some doors to open, I want a passport to the next stage. But what an engineer does, and will I want to do that? I'm good at physics, chemistry, maths, I can study and pass an exam. But would I want to be an engineer? I don't know. So when that happened, then all possibilities became open. So I did write the IIT exam again after class 12. I did clear it again, second time. But I also got admission to St. Stephen's College of Economics. Now, I said to myself, why am I spending 4 years to do something I'm not passionate about? Well, I can spend 3 years to do something I know nothing about. Right? I'm saving a year. It's a good brand, good label. Also, mil raha hai. So that's how I got St. Stephen's. So, when you're 18, you do stupid things. So I did one of those stupid things.
So but it turned out great.
वो तो बाद में hindsight है ना. But yeah, it was atypical, but it was not very smart.
So after St. Stephen's, you went to IIM, which was another kind of brand that you got. But as one would expect it that after IIM you would rise up the corporate ladder. But very soon you also left the corporate race and you want to start up. So I want to understand this. When people talk about entrepreneurship today, I think there's this one kind of entrepreneur who wants to solve a problem of the world. And maybe there's another kind of entrepreneur who says, I don't want to work for anybody else. And then there's another kind of entrepreneur who says, I want to get rich. So what was it that drove you to entrepreneurship?
You see, when I look back on it, we are all dreamers, right? Everybody. Okay, you are, I am, the whole crew is, and we all daydream. And I used to daydream a lot when I was a kid. My biggest sort of daydreaming moment was when, we were going in the school bus coming back home after school, and I'm sitting in the window seat, staring out of the window and just daydreaming, right? When I was 10 years old, approximately, so हम रहते थे Chanakapuri में, Chanakapuri government flats in Delhi. My dad was in the government, and 1970, I think, Chanakya cinema had just been built. Now, nobody had a TV at home. And, in the kind of environment we grew up in, television was considered bad influence over movies. Right? You went to study, you went to play, that's it. Read, okay? All good constructive things. So we used to get to see a movie once in 3 months. A friend and I would go to Janika Cinema and, see a movie. So I recalled in the early 70s, I had gone to Janika Cinema and I saw a film, Hathi Mere Sathi, Rajesh Khanna. So I came back completely starry-eyed. And I said, man, I want to grow up and become a film star. That lasted 3 months. Okay, after that, it was a futile ambition, futile dream. I can't become a film star, right?
A junior of yours from school.
Ended up, yes.
Yeah,
but I guess he kept on reading. I did not. I gave up that dream. Then in 1973, I recall, colony में 4-5 television थे. पूरी colony, 4 or 5 families had televisions. So we used to go to a friend's house who had television and watch some programs in the evening on Doordarshan, when then it was all in the radio. And that's it. Then in 1973, the English cricket team, MCC, came to India and for test series. And the test match in Delhi was telecast live for the first time in India. A test match was telecast live. Not only locally, only in Delhi. There was no national network. So you couldn't see programs on other cities. And I remember going to my friend's house, still winter holidays, and sitting the full day for 5 days, 6 actually, there used to be a rest in the middle, and watching the game. And after watching Vishwanath and Gavaskar bat, I sort of said, I will become a cricket player at the cricket for India. Yeah. Right? I was still 10 years old. It's 73 ki baat hai. That lasted 3-6 months, that dream.
Mm-hmm.
But sometime around 75 or 76, I was 12 or 13 years old. See, 2 new magazines had come out, India Today and Business India. And they used to come into the house occasionally, and I used to leaf through them. And I saw a story on India Today, in India Today, I think, maybe it was a cover story, I don't know, on JRD Tata. I don't recall cover story thi kahan thi. But I remember reading it and being very inspired and said, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to start a company. I was 12 or 13 years old, government officer's son, no money, no capital, no business in the family. You're not trained to take a risk. You're not, you're being schooled and tutored to pass entrance exams, and getting to good colleges and then good jobs and make a career in that fashion. And I guess there are kids who will do what their parents do, and there are kids who will do anything but that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the second category, that I will not be a doctor and I'll not join the government, which left private sector. I also recalled, in 1975, I had gone on a visit to Ahmedabad. I was in class 7. My mother's sister was staying there, and my uncle, her husband, took us out for a car ride in the evening one day when we were there. It was winter holidays, and we just won there for chutti. And he drove us through this strange place, this red brick building with round holes, large round holes in it. And I said, what on earth is this? And then my brother was there in IIT Kanpur, and he said, this is the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. So I said, really? What happens here? They told me, you study management, what is management, MBA, all that. And that sort of formed a bookmark in my head that this might be a good place to come and study if I want to start a company at some point in time. But then I'm already thinking of a company. And that dream stayed with me. Mm-hmm. So that dream didn't go away. So it was a culmination of several dreams. And so I had that ambition by the time I finished school. Like one day I would start a company. Mm-hmm. In those days, we did use the word entrepreneurship. We said, business started karenge. And तब जब मौका मिला तो मैंने 5 साल काम करने के बाद I quit my job.
And what was the reaction at home? Were they okay?
I had been discussing for several years that this is my ambition. So when it came, nobody objected. I mean, they must have been nervous, but they didn't object.
And at that time, there was no concept of angel investing. So how did you find your seed capital?
No, basically we had no money. right? So what we had to do was to produce something with our own time and effort. So there's no payout, there's no cost. And then sell it to customers and take 100% advance. So the task was cut out for us. What can we produce with our own time and effort with customers will want, which is unique, so they paid at us. And we sort of zeroed in on this idea of doing a salary survey. And it worked.
So this is after you had founded InfoEdge, and like how was the timeline of this?
But this is, I mean, you're doing the product, you did the product, and then you founded InfoEdge, right?
Okay.
Once the product is ready.
Okay.
And those
So first you found the cash flow and then started the.
No. We didn't find the cash flow.
Okay.
Basically you collect money with a bank account.
Yeah.
To open a bank account, you need a company, right? But you are doing this in parallel, where you are doing the work to do the survey. You are sending out letters to prospective clients, saying, send us the money, we'll send you the survey. At the same time, before the money comes in, you need a bank account. And in those days, of course, life was simpler. To open a bank account, you just need a partnership deed. You didn't need complicated stuff, KYC, all that, nothing.
So how much money did you gather from that survey, and like how did it start in InfoEdge?
2,000 रुपया, okay? और 80,000 रुपये आए within about 2-3 months.
That was a lot of money.
In those days, in 1990, it was a lot of money. 1890, a lot of money. Then for development, so we were doing about 2-3 lakhs a year, which we weren't taking a salary, but 2-3 lakhs was reasonable money in 1989-90.
And sir, how did you get talent at that time? Because there was no concept of the startups will lead to huge
There was
ESOPs.
no talent, yeah. We were doing it ourselves. How is it talent? It's only many years later that we sort of began to hire people who you could classify as talent.
And then fast forward to the dotcom bubble, when you did not take VC money, and then after a few years, I mean, it got validated, your strategy, that you also went for an IPO. I want you to explain, like, how did you think about all this at every step, the decisions that you made, all the risks that you took, and you went kind of against the grain and did things that not everybody was doing. Even when you kind of started investing from the balance sheet of InfoEdge into startups.
You see, first of all, in hindsight, it all looks planned strategy. We were doing it, it wasn't. Like we were acting in the moment and doing what made sense then. Right? So, पहले 7 साल, 1997, we were doing salary surveys, trademarks database, teaching, training. I've been a part-time journalist valley. I was in the Pioneer newspaper as consulting editor of the career supplement.
Okay.
You see, the company for many years couldn't afford to pay me any salary. So I have taught on weekends at various management schools in and around Delhi. Most notably IMT Ghaziabad, where I would earn 275 rupees an hour to teach. So I figured if I could make about, 5,500 rupees a month or teaching, it's good enough for me to not take a salary for the company. The company had to pay me. So I figured if I can teach maybe 5-6 hours on weekends, I'll make 5,000 rupees enough. And that's what I would do. I would teach courses in marketing, in communication. Right? Then I got an assignment from Pioneer newspaper as consulting editor. Because initially it was the advertising and marketing supplement, then of the career supplement. For 3-4 years, I was a journalist in the afternoons. In the morning, I would work on operation. Right? So every bootstrapping entrepreneur has to have a jugaad. This is my jugaad. The company can't afford to pay me, but company has to keep running. I can't take a salary or I have to live. Let me do something on the weekends. And that's how we did it. So, we didn't take VC. Why? Because there was no VC. In Nevathani VC. Eventually, we got Nopri in 97.
I think some American investor had mailed you. Yeah, what is that story?
So 99.
Yeah.
9 years after starting out, 2.5 years after launching Naukri, we began to get inquiries from people saying, can we talk? We want to invest in your company. So I went for 2-3 meetings, right? And I walked away completely baffled because people were talking stuff I didn't understand. We want to invest $2 million in your company for 25%. Now, company is doing about 2.5 lakhs a month. Which is about 30 lakhs a year, 35 lakhs a year sales, right? We're barely breaking even. We're breaking even because I'm not taking a salary. And he wants to put $2 million. Now, he tells me that we are meeting. This is the physical meeting at the coffee shop in Taj Mansingh, Machan, right? For breakfast. And he's paying it. I got a body. Okay. And he says, this is what we'll do. And I'm a little baffled. I'm totally baffled actually because, I can't figure out, and $2 million, I can't figure out how much it is. I deal in thousands and tens of thousands, right, of rupees. So at time the dollar was 40 rupees, I think. Sure. So I'm doing the maths in my head and I can't figure it out. They say, hey, maybe it's 8 crores. So then I say, what? 8 crores. Yeah, $2 million for, I said, now in my head, I'm saying, what I can't comprehend the money. I'd never imagined, 8 crore kitna hota hai. I've never seen that kind of money. So, buys. And I'm saying, the only thing I think of is how many pizzas can I buy at Lirolas for 8 crores? No, and I can't do that math. Because my mind is frozen. Correct? And then I say, what will you do with the money? It is very simple. You'll spend it on advertising. That will build brand. And that's the barrier to entry. Then 6 months from now, we'll raise twice the money at 4 times the valuation. And 1 year from now, we'll list you on NASDAQ. Now, I don't know what NASDAQ was. I didn't know what NASDAQ was. Okay. I knew NYSE. I vaguely heard NASDAQ, something to do with stock market. I didn't know exactly what. In the US, I said, okay. But I know advertising. I worked in advertising. 3 years I worked in advertising, 2 years in marketing before I quit my job. So I got out of that. I said, boss, if you spend on advertising, we'll never get the money back. I know advertising. I've done it. Because there's no way this company can spend 8 crores in advertising and expect to earn that money back. The market is not large enough. We'll not make the sales happen. Our products aren't expensive enough. Nahi hoga push. So we are currently breaking even and profitable. And we'll go to a loss. How is that okay? So the guy says, this is the problem with you Indian entrepreneurs. You want to make a profit on the internet. You have a vision problem. Nobody makes a profit on the internet. Don't know it's new economy. And then I said, okay, fine, I'll get back to you. I figured this guy, it's going to be a problem. So at the same time, 8 crores is a lot of money. So I go back home. I don't sleep for 2 days because, 8 crores, the guy's an idiot. What do we do? Finally, I said no. But then funded competition launched 6 months later. Job they had launched. And they launched ad campaign was twice our total revenue. The cost of a launch ad campaign was twice our total annual revenue. And it was ads on the India-Pakistan cricket series on Sharjah TV.
The top kind of cost of ads.
7 lakhs, one launch ad campaign. And our turnover was 36 lakhs. So 2x on our revenue, they had spent on the launch ad campaign in 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever. And that's when we woke up and said, we can't compete with this. And so we went back in the market, and this time we raised the money.
But even after you raised the money, you did not go all out and spend the money. I think you kept it in the bank as a safety.
See, we got lucky for several periods. Okay, one of them was this, that we said no 6 months earlier to money. We would never raise the money now. And this time we raised it, the market went it down into it. So
that's on the dotcom bust.
So we didn't have time to spend the money foolishly. पैसा आ गया, बैंक पे डाल दिया. And we said, अच्छा ये business plan बेकार है, now what do we do? तो अब market में crash आ गया. and which would happen. So it's not as if we had great foresight and vision and planning and whatever the circumstances.
And then you also went public quite early, right?
We had a venture capital. We had a venture capital investment. ICS Venture. We had a shareholder agreement saying by X date they've been IPO. So we were working towards an IPO from the beginning, saying that we've got this deadline to meet. We missed the deadline, but the deadline was 2003. But 2006 was also pretty quick. 6 years IPO pretty quick.
And sir, because now a lot of startups are going for IPO. I think it started from portfolio companies of yours, Zomato and PolicyBazaar, with these startups in the app economy. Now you see that a huge number of startups are going for IPOs suddenly. What do you think is the right time? How do you kind of advise portfolio companies about what's the right time?
First thing is the market should be willing to take your IPO. Right? So in 2006 when we went public, right, at that time the wisdom was, the conventional wisdom was when you talk to bankers and you talk to investors that you got to be X size, Y profit, Z growth. If you are that, the market will take your IPO and give you a good IPO. So it was going to be very hard to make a loss-making company public. Now loss-making companies are going public at that time. So we have to be profitable first. Two is you got to be about 100 crores at least in top line. Now it's maybe 500 crores. Okay, that'll have changed. You have to be profitable. 15-20% profitable. Was the received wisdom there. Now we had achieved all those, so we were able to go public. So first thing about going public is market you should be ready for IPOs. Ready from size of company, growth of company, profitability. Perspective, ready from your internal systems and methods, ready from predictability. That you can't be profitable this year and then loss making next year. So there has to be enough growth left in you, predictable growth left in you, steady growth left in you. Management team is very strong enough. Your internal system is very strong enough. Your auditors, internal auditors, independent directors, all that has to be in place. So you have to see when you take public money, there are many hoops you have to jump through and bars you have to clear. You can't just go public.
Are those X, Y, Z, X revenue, Y profitability, Z growth, are those things there even today when startups go public?
To a large extent, yes. Although companies can go public at low profit or no profit. So now this path to profit by next year, they have to clear. But on a sustainable basis, it's going to be loss making. Next 5-10 years, it's going to be hard to go public.
Sir, I was flipping through the pages of the book that has come out on Zomato and Deepinder. And there is this very interesting, there are quite a few email exchanges between you and Deepinder there. And there's this one interesting thing where you are telling Deepinder about, most entrepreneurs have one great idea. And
you have many great ideas, but you have one great company.
And if you cash out at some point in time, then maybe you'll think about it in the future. And I was watching this interview of Ali Ghotsi, who's the CEO of Databricks. And that is the same thing that Ben Horowitz of Andreessen Horowitz had told him at a certain point of time. So I want to understand from your point of view as a founder, has this dawned on you at different points of time of should I cash out?
Look, cashing out, we have got offers in the past. And look, I was tempted some 25 years ago. But then I thought about it and I said, listen, paise le liye, uske baad kya karunga? I'll be kind of unemployed. And see, I'll tell you something. The greatest of entrepreneurs, the most successful people, in their truthful moments, will admit that they were also lucky. Right? You were good, you had a great idea, you good execution, you good with people, you were able to raise money, you did all the things right, and you could still fail. Right? So to succeed, you also have to be lucky. Apart from all those things. And if you've been lucky once, it doesn't mean you'll be lucky the second time, because luck is not in your control. And therefore, अगर एक बारी कामयाबी मिल गई, write that to greater things to the logical conclusion. Then now, you will not be lucky next time.
Because a lot of entrepreneurs.
With due respect to, say, to Samir Bhatia, he was successful in 98.
Yes.
Several better friend who never not done that well, because quite simply because he's not been lucky a second time. He's been very good always.
That is true.
Bill Gates, Microsoft, wrote over 30 years. Apple. So Steve Jobs is the only one that's done it twice, up before Elon Musk. I can think only Elon Musk and Steve Jobs done it twice.
Yes.
Larry Ellison, Oracle, long time. The Google guys, Google, long time.
That is true. But today you also see that a lot of people are becoming serial entrepreneurs. And
no, but to build a truly great company, it takes 30 years, 25 years.
Sure.
So you can build a company, sell it, build a second company, sell it. You can be financially successful, personally. But did you build a truly great? You can't build a truly great company in 5 years or 3 years. It's not possible.
So I also want to understand that, in one of those email exchanges, you also talked about founder dilution. Today we see that, most of the founders, when they are going for IPO, single digit stakes. I want to understand, how was it for you as a founder? How did you think about it at that time, and how do you think about it now as an investor?
When we were in public, the promoters, the founders, Hitesh, me, Ambrish, we own more than 50% of the company. We felt it was important because with majority, we can guide the company to its destiny. Over time, as the company went public, we of course are much lower now. But then it's much harder to take over a public company in a hostile fashion. So we know that we can stay independent. So for us, it was a question of staying independent, of being able to have the influence to guide the company to its destiny. And therefore, we get a certain shareholding.
And did you, today, for example, when these, if you see the new age companies, because they have to raise huge amounts of money, and they do get diluted.
Now, nowadays, of course, given the kind of capital raises that are happening, it's very hard for somebody, a founder, to retain a very high shareholding. But, if you go too low, it's in the investor's best interest to give an ESOP top-up to the founders. Because if the founders don't have enough skin in the game, if they're over-diluted, then it is risky for the investors also.
So, till what point is it exciting for a founder to be a founder? Is there a certain point in the journey of the company that, because a lot of founders, people say that, I'm a 0 to 1 person, I'm a 1 to 100 person. Is there a difference?
Actually, people say that, others say that, or some founders. I don't, at least, it depends. I guess it varies from case to case. At least in our situation, that was not the case. We took it from 0 to 1, 1 to 100, and maybe 100 to 1,000. Let's see.
So I want to understand, when you started investing in startups from the InfoEdge balance sheet, what was the idea behind it, and how did why did it strike you then to do something like that?
Another sort of.
And you could also have been an angel investor at that point of time, right? Why from the, what was the?
No, I think I wanted all my time and all the profit I'm getting from my time to go to the shareholders, of which I am one. So I also get profit, I get a fair share. So I said that therefore I will not take time away from the company. Because all shareholders will benefit from my time. Which is what I did. Now, why do we get into investing? There again, it's an accident. So when we were preparing for the IPO in 2005, we were working with DRHP. DRHP is a complex document, 280 pages, lots of clauses, numbers, legalese, SEBI compliances, MCA compliances. And there's one section called objects of the issue. Why you are going public. So now we were very hands-on at DRHP, right? We would sit in a large conference room and project a document on the screen. And there'd be us, there would be our legal team, our finance team, the bankers, their legal teams, maybe 10, 15 people in one conference room. And we would project the document on the screen. And we go over every clause. Editing, cutting, pasting, arguing, agreeing, not agreeing, all of that. When it came to a section called the objects of the issue, which is a very key section, right, as far as SEBI is concerned. And I told the bankers, this I will work on tonight at home. I know why you want to work on it. Okay. And tomorrow when we come for the meeting, I'll show you. So when I likha, and I wrote what I thought was why public. And it was to get out of the shareholder event, to give exit the investor, to make the ESOP, give the ESOP some value, to be in a different strategic space, to make sure the stock has currency, to whatever. When you do ardas dal diya. They came back, the banker said, boss, this will not clear SEBI.
To give investors exit, how can you write that in the contract? Yeah.
So dekho, first of all, you're doing a primary,
Yeah.
you're not doing a secondary.
Yeah.
Your stock will be, your investor can then, sell in the market.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
So object of the issue is, what are you going to do with the money? No, this is why you want a listing.
Yeah. Okay. It's not the objects of the issue. It's why you want to do list.
It's, what do you want to do with the money? So इसको इसके 5 स्टैंडर्ड होते हैं, हम वो लिख के ले आएंगे, कट पेस्ट कर देंगे, आपको दिखा देंगे. So they came back. Organic growth, inorganic growth, general corporate growth, whatever, some part points there. And IPO happened. Now the IPO happened, the truth is we didn't have a plan to use the money for those 5 things. We didn't need the money because we were profitable. और हर महीने बैंक में से बढ़ रहे हैं. So we after 2 quarters, each quarter the auditor will come and say use of IPO proceeds nil. Pricewaterhouse will come and tell the board. After 2 quarters, the board said, yeah, this won't do. So we will get after you. You have to use the money. So that is when we said, okay, fine. Investing in startups is also inorganic growth. Why don't we invest in startups? So that's when the plan to invest in startups was initiated in 2007.
Were there any examples that you had considered, SoftBank, or that was like from the scratch you thought that, okay, let's go ahead? Also, because investing in startups at that point of time, you did not know that, will it turn out to be a big thing in India? Will it turn out to be a
small thing? When we started, it was a small thing. Where आपको 150 crore you can use to invest in startups and generate a return on.
So the board was easily convinced about this?
Or board was saying we have to use the money.
Got it. I also want to understand later, you started investing, you made, investments like Zomato, PolicyBazaar. I mean, they were doing well, they were growing, people came to know about them, raising more funding. But then I think one of the important things in this kind of venture capital investing is also you have to double down in every round to kind of preserve your stake in the company.
So you take a call, yes, on how the company is doing before you put in more money. And yes, in general, when there's an external round happening where the next investor, there's an expectation that you will also put in some money, right, to demonstrate confidence. And you may also want to put in money to protect your shareholding. So we've done enough of that.
And when you were doing that, let's say you made these investments, Zomato, PolicyBazaar 2008, 2010. Let's say 2015, 16, 17. a certain number of years had gone by, they were growing, but they were still kind of loss making. Was it tough to convince the board at that point of time, or was there a confusion in your mind that what should I do from? Should I double down still? Because what is the path to an IPO or an exit was not very clear, I think, at that point of time.
No, that is true. The path was not clear. But in both these companies, we had confidence because we knew the companies well. We knew the founders well. We had, worked closely with them. And therefore, we had no doubt that we would put more money if required, as and when needed. At the same time, there was sufficient appetite in the market among other investors to come into these two companies. And third, their capital requirements were such at that stage, which were beyond the capabilities of our balance sheet. And therefore, we knew we could not do it all on our own. So in Zomato, in the first 4 rounds, we went solo. But when it got very large, the capital requirement is when we said, let's go out.
But it was not very difficult convincing the board?
Well, they were obviously the board, it's public money we're using.
Yeah.
The board is very conscious of its responsibilities and duties. And therefore, there would be, deep discussion and deep dives. And at each stage at the end, we'd call in the founders. And then it's only when the board felt confident did we get the go-ahead. But we were able to get that go-ahead without too much bother. Simply because the founders are so good that when they walked in the room, the board got convinced. I was less convincing.
Sir, a lot of investors today, they say that they are most founder friendly, and everybody is looking for founder friendly investors. Now, to understand this, what is the dynamic between a founder and investor? Because you have donned both the hats. How do disagreements happen? With the most successful of your companies.
Both founders and investors have got to be mature enough to handle the relationship. I have seen founders being extremely rude to investors when they're not getting their way in the next round. That's a bad idea. At the same time, I've seen investors trying to behave like they're the founder's boss when actually no founder becomes an entrepreneur because he's looking for a new boss. That's not something he'll accept, he or she would accept. So both can be wrong. At the same time, both have been spectacularly right in many cases on how to handle relationships. So I would say we had a great relationship with ICICI Venture. I mean, I would get stuff cleared. I would get AVMs cleared on the phone and say, Bala, main ye kar raha hu. She said, okay. I just drop an email saying, this is, we discussed it, I'm doing this. So we had a great relationship. It's a question of how much confidence you create in your investor.
So any kind of thing you can remember, any instance when you had a disagreement and how you sorted it out? How was the debate like when you were a founder and dealing with investors?
Well, look, I mean, 2003, it's another was a meltdown. There is no hope of doing an IPO. Like, company's profitable. So ICS is wondering how to get an exit. We had some tough conversations, but it was all right.
And was there also, because nowadays sometimes what happens when the VCs want an exit, with the founders also consider that will we buy back, give the founders an exit, take a loan. Is that something
The problem with a founder buyback or a company buyback is that it'll never be at the kind of valuation that will give the VC any kind of return that they'll be happy with. There's nothing like a public market return of a good company. ICICI about 28.5x.
Oh,
in 6.5 years.
6.5 years, 20.5x. So, as an investor, have there been instances, when there have been kind of disagreements? I just want to understand, how do investors and founders handle their disagreements? Let's say if there is a founder watching.
Oh, I've had 20 disagreements with Deepinder.
For instance.
So I was not in favor of, first of all, as an investor, you got to understand that the founder's running the company, you're not running the company. So you must suggest, but you try and impose it, will backfire. Ultimately, you suggest, penny doesn't drop, you leave it. Unless, of course, it's a existential crisis where, if the company will go under is when you say, listen, guys, it's not okay. But that is not the case at any point that. So Deepinder and us, Zomato and us disagreed 17 times. Right? But they went ahead and did it anyway. Okay? The 18th time, we disagreed. And they went ahead, of course, with our consent. Okay? So we finally agreed. But we were on opposite sides of the table. And that 18th time, they were spectacularly right. And that's what saved the company. The 18th time, the first 17 times was about expansion into international markets. And we were saying, don't do it. 18th time was getting delivery, and we were saying, don't do it. And they went ahead and did it. So basically, they had raised $180 million from Ant Financial. 2 weeks after that, they walked into our office, my basement, and my home office, and they said, this $180 million, we're going to blow up in food delivery in the next 12 months. I said, don't be daft. This money will not come again. So no, we got to do it. And we argued 2 hours. And eventually I said, fine, do it. They were not relenting. It is that which saved the company and made the company. That decision. So you could, as an investor, understand that you may not always be right. So 2 things you understand, that many times the founder will not listen, accept it. 2, you could be wrong.
So you think
investor.
you think the last word after all the debate, you think the last word should be with the founder?
The guys who got to do it will finally decide.
Is there anything like that you can recall about PolicyBazaar and Yashish? Any disagreements like that?
No, PolicyBazaar, no. PolicyBazaar, I was not handling. Kitty was handling.
Okay,
More than me. I mean, handling it. Yeah. We work together, but it's basically Kitty.
got it. Sir, how do you envision the future of InfoEdge? It started out, it was the OG internet company of India. Then, in the app economy, it became great as an investor. I think recently this calculation came out that how we have kind of outperformed everyone in India in terms of investing in startups. So what's next for InfoEdge?
Well, hopefully more of the same. We'll continue to run our operating business well. They'll be growing and profitable. And they'll be number one in either of the categories. Naukri is dominant. Like is number one. We want to be number one in the other 2 as well. And our investments will continue to perform. So hopefully more of the same.
So I want to understand that, when you came with InfoEdge, you kind of, in a way, you disrupted the earlier, print ads and everything, print classifieds. That was one kind of version of ads. And then came the app economy, and where everything was kind of within the apps, Google search and everything. Next, now with AI agents coming, do you think about, how will this change?
So we've got a team of 130 people in the company who are AI engineers. And they're continuously working on AI products and platforms and solutions and features that will take our business forward, our company forward. And some of the stuff has been rolled out. So the kind of work being done in AI at InfoEdge with the operating businesses is, I think, truly remarkable, and is going to make a huge difference to the company. And is perhaps, I think we might be having the largest AI engineer team in the country among domestic tech companies.
Sir, how do you think about InfoEdge, let's say, 3, 4, 5 decades in the future? Do you think it as think of it as a product company or as a holding company or do you think a company can be both at the same time?
Well, we have shown it can be.
Yes, sir.
Because it all depends on the management bandwidth leadership. So there are 2 parts of the company. There's the operating business, the investing business. Right? Hitesh heads the operating business, I head the investing business. And we have managed to straddle both successfully.
And for the future also, this is
That's the intent.
So one question I want to ask, that, the best of the investors, like you said that, one founder has one great company. Best of the investors also, if you see historically, there are just a few outrageously successful bets that everybody makes. So when, does it ever kind of cross your mind, and do you ever think about it that, with Zomato and PolicyBazaar being such great kind of bets, do you think that, they may be, does it concern you that what if these two, my best bets are behind me, or does it?
Look, for me, Info Ventures or Capital in 2B or Red Start or even the managing investments, they're not my individual sort of efforts. We are trying to build an institution here. That institution has many people, right? So even if my best is behind me,
No.
there are others in the company whose best may be yet to come. So we have about 15 or 20 people in the investing team.
Yeah.
They're all smart, all bright, all working very hard to make things happen. Hopefully things will continue to happen.
So I want to understand, like, personally, I mean, I understand that InfoEdge is a, so many people investing and as an institution. But do you think about it sometimes, or is it, is this is nothing, it's something that does not cross your
The
mind?
more successful Ron and possible I get, the more I think, okay, how can we emulate this?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, maybe we can't. But can we get 5, 10, 15 other very successful companies and see what happens in 10 years? Go for it, I'm 62. So, but the others are in their 30s.
Yeah.
So they have 30 years ahead of them.
Yeah.
I have to be 10 or 15.
Yeah. And do you also kind of try to analyze that, what were the right signals that you saw about Zomato and PolicyBazaar early on that led you to, I'm sure you must be trying to do, what are the signals kind of?
So signals are actually small and simple. And we never imagined that they could become this big, these companies.
Yeah.
Right? When you went in, very simple. Good product, people like it, enough evidence of traction, good founders, put a small sum of money and see what happens. And bit by bit, we kept progressing. We didn't know Zomato could be Zomato till it went public. And we didn't know PolicyBazaar till it went public. And then we saw what the public office did to them.
So how do you think about risk in kind of, what has been your framework of thinking about the risk that you have taken from early on, starting a company?
I think I am very risk averse.
Yes.
I'm a duckpoke. So every time there's a risk, I try and understand, comprehend, dissect, mitigate, minimize.
Okay.
Sometimes don't go ahead.
Okay.
So like I said, when I began as an entrepreneur, I worked on weekends.
Yeah.
When? Because I had to get some pocket money. Right? When we took our venture capitalists, what did we do? We put the money in the bank. Let's wait and watch. See what happens. When we have done investing, what have we done? We had a portfolio approach. When we invested in Zomato, first check was 4.5 crores, 4.7 crores. Not a large check. Small risk. Let's see what happens. And every time it was against a competitive term sheet. So we knew that there's somebody else looking at it and liking it. It's not just us. I think very good entrepreneurs look at opportunity. Great entrepreneurs also look at risk.
So I want to understand from you, how have you been making some of the decisions that you have been making in terms of opportunity versus risk, weighing the two?
I think let's talk about companies that went on to do really well, but we had declined them when they came to us for investment, when I considered them for investment. So I said no to Flipkart in the pre-series A without even meeting them. I said no to Myntra twice after meeting them. I said no to Ola in the pre-series A in the angel route after meeting them. I said no to Lenskart after meeting them in the pre-series A route in angel route. I said no to many companies that have gone and done well. And in all the cases, we were looking at risk. We were looking at path to profit. We were being very conservative. Right? And we were wrong. I mean, we would have made pots of money if we got into those companies. But I look at it philosophically. I said, so long as the ones that you've done are looking good, it's okay if some of the ones you missed have done very well and you missed it.
When you talk about anti-portfolio, when some companies come to seek funds from you, I'm sure you get to know that which are the other investors they've gone to.
No, we don't actually. We don't actually, but we don't pay much heed to that. So you don't. We look at the founder and the company and the idea and.
That's what I want to understand, that, do investors see that, okay, if let's say, some VCs say that, okay, if Sanjeev Bikhchandani thinks that this won't be a great company, then it probably isn't, and I should not
I don't
invest.
think so. You see, the thing is, at a very early stage,
Yeah.
everybody is unsure. Hoga nahi hoga, can you do it? Don't do it. It's all grey. You're in a fog. Right? In that fog, you got to somehow figure out yes or no. And we could be wrong, and that's what we've been wrong so many times.
No. So what was maybe one or two examples if you can give for Flipkart, for Ola? What are the
Look,
things?
this time we looked at it and we said, how will they make money? We don't know how they make money. For Ola, I met Bhavish and I said, what a guy, great guy. Super guy. But his idea was, I met him in the lobby of the Westin Hotel in Bombay, in Malad, I don't know where it is. In the Westin Hotel lobby, I met him. Almost at Goregaon, I think. I was Goregaon, not sure. He said, my idea है, said क्या? Says कि देखो टैक्सी जाती है बॉम्बे से महाबलेश्वर, वापसी खाली आती है, मैं वापसी भरूंगा. That's my idea. And I was looking at him and thinking, अच्छा कितनी टैक्सी आती है, मार्केट सीजनल नॉन सीजनल है, कितनी वापसी भरेगा, कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन क्या होगा, कितना कमीशन देगा ड्राइवर को, कितना खुद रखेगा, तो कितना रेवेन्यू होगा, पैसे कैसे बनेंगे. Now, when looking from that prism, I said it won't work. I perhaps should look at it from different prism. That what's the guy like? What is he about? I'm investing in the guy. Yes. अगर ये आइडिया नहीं चले, वो कुछ और कर देगा. Wrong question.
In a way, that's what, Foodieway became Zomato, and that's what they also did, right? Flip the model. So I also want to understand, you said this one thing, that when you were thinking about investing.
Just a Mukesh person, Winsor. He came to me when they were making mugs and t-shirts with companies' logos and names on it, merchandise. And I said, how big can I become? Wrong question. I should assess the guys. We said no twice to great person. Should have backed it.
But how do you assess a guy, sir?
No, I was not assessing the guy.
Yeah.
I was assessing the idea. I was assessing the guy and the idea.
Yeah. But today, if you were to, I'm sure that after that, you have started thinking about this.
Should profit. Should profit. We said no to Sahil Goyal. 2012, 30. Because the idea he was doing then would not work. It did not work. We could have gotten that company very, very cheap if we'd done that. We eventually went in and get a much higher valuation. We should assess the guy. We assess the idea.
What are some of the characteristics that you look for in a founder, in a person for founder?
Sincerity, clarity, integrity, commitment, willing to look up for the long haul. Those are the things. Good with people.
So that is like any management hire, like, is there something different that they are?
No, the problem is that when you're doing a management hire, separation is easy. Right? You can say, okay, it's not working, guys. Look for a job. When 3 months you out. In entrepreneur, capital is what? The other employees whose jobs are at stake in that company. So the bet you make with capital putting behind a founder is perhaps more onerous than the bet you make by hiring one person.
So do you also look for imagination, as in how big can a founder think? How big can a founder bet?
Imagination is easy, execution is hard. सोचना, कल्पना करना, कहना आसान है, करना मुश्किल है. So it's easy to talk a good game. It's much harder to walk it. So doing both.
That is true, sir. And so in today, so who do you, because there is quite frequently there is this criticism of the Indian startup ecosystem, despite of all the successes, is that the today's founders are not thinking as boldly as that they should be, or are
It's
they?
not true. Sometimes they're thinking too boldly without being practical. So I disagree with that generalization. Maybe it's true in some cases, maybe it's not true in many cases.
And who do you think today are the best founders in India in terms of execution, thinking?
I would say that the Zomato team is great. I would say PolicyBazaar is great. Those are our companies.
Yes.
If we look at but if I don't look at, when I say excluding our portfolio, I think Misho's done a good job. I think urban companies done a good job. I think there are several that are doing a very good job.
So given urban company is based in Delhi, and I think Abhiraj used to work with Deepinder, I think at some point of time. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
No? But I think, did you also, is that also your anti-portfolio?
No. We met Avinaj, but when the valuation already hit $3 billion.
Yeah.
Or 1.8 billion or something like that. So it was too late for us. It's too late. We invested in a competitor of Avinaj called Big Stylist.
Okay.
It didn't work out.
So I want to understand that, you said when you were thinking about investing, you thought that, the benefits of your time, the fruits of your time should go to the InfoEdge shareholders. I want to understand, why did you think that way? Because also a lot of founders today, they invest in their startups, even if it has not gone for an IPO yet. So from where did the thinking arise? Was it like corporate governance perspective and,
Well, I was advised by people that, you must always seek convergence of interest. So to get alignment of interest, therefore, when you're working full time and only for your company, there's complete alignment of interest with your shareholders.
And I think you also had shares in Make My Trip that you had gotten as
ESOP. I was an ESOP director there.
And you had given them to InfoEdge?
Yeah, so I was invited by Deep to be an independent director on his board, on the part of board, and I took board permission. I took concurrence from Hitesh and Ambrish, and I felt that if I want to be taking time away from InfoEdge to be on the Make My Trip board and benefit from it monetarily, because I got ESOP, then that benefit must go to our shareholders.
And how much did InfoEdge benefit from it?
Well, it was only a few crore rupees. This is in 2010, and we sold it immediately as we got it. We didn't wait, and not a lot, but it was more, I guess, symbolic.
But do you think, sir, this is because
actually in that one quarter there was a blip in other income.
But how do you think about this? Because if you see 2-3 years back, there was this thing of people were moonlighting. And there was in the IT sector, there was a lot of issue about, I'm sure, given that how InfoEdge works closely with the IT sector, this would have been something that even, would have been thought about in your company, that, employees were moonlighting. And then, at that time when all this was going on, a lot of people were saying that, see the top people in a company, see the top management, see the board of directors, see the founders, they kind of devote their time to different things. Then why not the employees? So is there something, what is the rationale? How do you think about this?
Question is also, are you telling the truth in your contract? In your employment contract? Not. If you're telling the truth in your employment contract, no problem. But if you're violating employment contract, there's a problem.
And what about founders? So even if you're like, let's say you're a growth stage founder, Series C, Series D, because secondaries happen, now you make some money, and then you do angel investing. Do you think that's all right?
So it's not something we encourage. So at our board, there's a rule which is the executive directors cannot invest in unlisted companies in the tech space. Okay. Second, even in other unlisted companies, they need the board permission, and you're allowed a maximum of 5. So up to 5 non-tech companies with the board permission, and no tech companies unlisted.
So this a non-compete is baked into the contract.
So it's a board rule.
Yeah, got it. Sir, one of the things that you have also founded is Ashoka University. Co-founded.
We had 200 founders. I'm one of them.
200 founders. But you work closely and you are kind of quite devoted to it.
I don't need too much time.
So I want to understand it from, because, it was, I think, known as Project Noble when it started. So what was your kind of thinking then? And
so I didn't give it that name. I know there were somebody else who gave it that name. So the thinking was to build a globally excellent university in the area of liberal arts and science in India, so that India can harness talent and produce knowledge.
So first, on the liberal arts perspective, because you are a liberal arts graduate, you became a tech founder, tech investor. Do you think it is still possible to do that today?
I think it is. I mean, it's not a big deal. And deep color is also is liberal arts.
Yeah. Now today, do you think it's in this AI age, it is?
It is possible. It is possible. Depends on the person.
And so Ashoka University, sir, how closely are you kind of?
I'm on the board of trustees. I don't, like I said, spend too much time. I don't visit campus very often, but I'm always available when they need me.
I'm asking because India does not have a lot of centers of excellent private universities, whereas these kind of things, there are a lot of private universities outside the country, in the US, in the Europe, that a lot of students flock to. And the government also has been saying that they would like the students to stay within the country for the money to not go out, for the brain drain to not happen. So is there something that
Actually, I take a slightly more liberal view of that. It's okay if people who want to go overseas. They're also getting knowledge and they can give back to India some point in time in the future, because they get knowledge that perhaps they would not have gotten in India, right? And enough for them come back also, and some of them don't. That's fine. And we have to have free flow of talent and knowledge, both within the country and externally, internally.
So do you think with all the issue that's going on today, geopolitically around, migration, basically, immigration. So do you think that is something that India should look at strategically? That
Yes, of course. It is a great option to get talent back to India.
Are you seeing more founders come back and apply for funding? Some people who maybe work for Google or Microsoft coming
Not
back
yet.
to India.
Not yet. I think in the Bay Area in California, that trend is not starting yet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for inviting me.